Hello, Primary 5. Hope you are fine. Today we are going to talk about rounding decimals from page 24 to page 27 in the booklet. Rounding. To round decimal numbers, we have two strategies, midpoint strategy and rounding rule strategy. Let's start with midpoint strategy. In this strategy, we have to use the vertical number line. And we have only three numbers on this number line. Smaller number, and you have to write it down. Greater number, and you have to write it up. And finally, the midpoint, which at the middle of the number line. To find these numbers, we have some steps. Let's start. Here, in this question, I have 65.834. I need to round this number to the nearest whole. Okay, using midpoint strategy. Let's start. First, I need to find the smaller number and write it down on the number line. How can I find the smaller number? Okay, first, check. Here, we round to the nearest what? We round to the nearest whole. That means ones. I need the digit under ones. Okay, which digit under ones? It's 5. So take 5, take this digit and any digit else behind it inside the box, like this. Okay, now what I have to do, change any digit outside the box to zeros, like this. And this is the smaller number. So the smaller number is 65.30. Write it down like this. Okay, now I need to find the greater number. How can I find the greater number? Okay, back to the original number. I need to round to nearest whole. Which digit under ones? 5. Okay, it's like I'm gonna cross 5 and what's just after 5? 6. So that's mean the greater number now is 66.30. You have to write it up like this. Okay, now we have to find the midpoint. How can I find the midpoint? Look at the smaller number. In the smaller number here, I have 65.30. Okay, change the first 0 after 5 to 5. How come? Here I have 65.000. The first 0 after 5 and after the ones digit, change it to 5. So now it's 65.500 and this is the midpoint number. So the smaller number now is 65.30, the bigger 66.30, and the midpoint 65.500. Now, how can I round the number, the original number? Okay, search where the original number located on the number line. 65.834, it's up to the midpoint or down to the midpoint? Bigger than the midpoint or down, smaller than the midpoint? I have 834, it's bigger than 500, that means the original number up to the midpoint. When the original number up to the midpoint, that means my answer is the greater number, which is 66. What about if the original number down to the midpoint? If the original number is smaller than the midpoint, that means you have to take the smaller one. But here in this question, the original number bigger than the midpoint, up to the midpoint, that means I have to take 66. Let's solve another example. Here I have 45.54. I need to round this number now to nearest tenth. Okay. Which digit under tenth? It's 5. First, I need to find the smaller number. How can I find the smaller number? Search which digit under the required house. Tenth. So which digit under tenth? It's 5. So take 5 and anything behind it inside the box, like this. Then change any digit outside the box to 0. So I have only 4 outside the box, so change it to 0. And this is the smaller number, 45.50. Write it down. Okay, what about the bigger number? Again, look at the original number. Here, which digit under 10th? It's 5. So what did just after 5? 6. So that means the bigger number is 45.60, and you have to write it up. Okay, now I have the smaller number, the bigger number, and we have to find now the midpoint number. How can I find the midpoint number? Look at the smaller number. Okay, here I have 45.50. Change the first 0 after 10th to 5. So it's gonna be 5. So the midpoint number 45.55. So now I have the three numbers, the smaller number, which is 45.50, the bigger number, which is 45.60, and the midpoint number, which is 45.55. Okay, now search where is the original number located on the number line. I have 45.54. Where is this number on the number line? Up to the midpoint or down to the midpoint? Okay, look here, I have in the decimal part 54, but the midpoint is 55, so 54 is smaller than 55, so that means the original number down the midpoint. When the original number down the midpoint, take the smaller, which is 45.50. So that means my answer is 45.5, because we know that 0 at right in decimal part has no meaning. Letter C. Here we have 9.989. I need to round this number to nearest hundredths. Okay, here I need to find the smaller number. How can I find the smaller number? Okay, check which digit under hundredth house. Okay, it's 8, so take 8 and any digit behind it inside the box like this. And any digit outside the box, change it to 0. And this is the smaller number. So the smaller number, I have to write it down on the number line. Here I have 9.980. Okay, how can I find the greater number? Back to the original one and check again which digit under hundredth. It's 8. So ask yourself, which digit just after 8? 9. So that means the greater number is 9.990. Okay, to find the midpoint, look at the smaller number down here. Okay, ask yourself, where's the hundredth? It's 8. So the first 0 just after 8, change it to 5. And this is the midpoint. So the midpoint is 9.985. Okay. Now, search where is the original number, up to the midpoint or down to the midpoint. I have 9.989. 989 is bigger than 985. It's bigger than the midpoint. So that means the original number up to the midpoint. When the original number up to the midpoint, take the bigger number. So my answer is 9.99. Put the 0 at right in decimal part, has no meaning. Letter D. Here we have 0.2534. I need to round this number to nearest thousandths. Okay, which digit under thousandths? 3. So take 3 and any digit behind it inside the box like this, and any digit outside the box, turn it to 0. And this is the smaller number. Write it down on the number line like this. Okay, back to the original one to find the greater number. Here again, which digit under thousandths? It's 3. So that's mean, ask yourself, which digit is just after 3? 4. So that means the greater number is 0.2540. Okay, how can I find the midpoint? Look at the smaller number. Here, the smaller number, change the first digit, the first 0, after 3 to 5, like this. So the midpoint is 0.2540. 0.2535. Now search where is the original number. The original number located down to the midpoint. So that's mean my answer is the smaller number, which is 0.253. And now let's talk about the second strategy. The second strategy is rounding rule strategy. And we have some steps in this strategy. The first one, find the number and underline it. Second, look next door and circle next door. If next door 4 or less, just ignore. 5 or more, add 1 more. Okay. So the weak numbers are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and strong numbers are 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, let's apply all of these steps on my questions. Question number 1. Round each of the following numbers. In letter A, I have 753.5 and I need to round this number to nearest whole. Again, when I ask about whole, that means I need to underline ones. Which digit under ones is 3? So underline 3 and circle next door. Okay, next door, 5. Weak or strong? 5 is strong. That means I have plus 1 up to the required digit, which is 3. So, close the door. Any digit starting from the circled number to the right, turn it to 0. So 5 gonna be 0. And then decimal point. Then I have 1 plus 3. 1 plus 3 equals 4. Any digit at left from the underlined digit, keep it as it is. So that's mean 5 as it is and 7 as it is. So the final answer is 754. Okay. Letter B, here I have 56.25 to the nearest tenth. Okay, which digit under tenth? 2, so underline 2 and circle next door. 5, weak or strong? 5 is strong, so I have plus 1 up to 2 and close the door. Starting from the circle digit to the right, turn to 0. So 5 gonna be 0. 1 plus 2 equals 3. Decimal point. 6, keep it as it is. 5, keep it as it is. So that's mean the final answer is 56.3. Okay, letter C. In letter C here, I need to round this number to the nearest tens. Which digit under tens? Here I have 6, so that's me. Underline 6 and circle next door. 3. 3, weak or strong? It's weak, so just close the door. Ignore, nothing happened. So starting from the circle digit to any digit at right, turn to 0. So 8 will be 0, 7 will be 0, decimal point. 3 will be 0, and 6, keep it as it is. So that's mean the final answer is 60. Okay, letter D. I need to round this number to nearest hundredth. Which digit under hundredth? Is 7, so underline 7 and circle next door. 5 is strong, so that means add 1 more to 7. Okay, 5 gonna be 0. 1 plus 7, 8. 4, keep it as it is. Decimal point. 2, as it is. 8 and 7. And this is my final answer. Letter E. Here I need to round this number to nearest thousandth. Which digit under thousandth? It's 8, so underline 8 and circle next door. Next door is strong, so I have plus 1. Okay, 5 will be 0. 1 plus 8, 9. 2, keep it as it is. 6, keep it as it is. Decimal point, 5 and 9. And this is my final answer. In question 2 here, I need to round each number to nearest whole, tenth, hundredth, and thousandth. Okay, let's start with letter A. Here in letter A, I have 56.2849. I need to round this number to nearest whole. Whole means I need to underline ones. Which digit under ones? It's 6, so that's mean underline 6 and look next door. 2 is weak, that means nothing happened. So 9 will be 0, 4 will be 0, 8 will be 0, 2 will be 0, decimal point, 6 keep it as it is, and 5 keep it as it is. So that's mean the final answer is 56. Okay, if I need to round this number to nearest tenth, okay, so which digit under tenth? 2. Look next door, 8. So 8 is strong, so I have plus 1 up to 2. Okay, so that's mean 9 will be 0, 4 will be 0, 8 will be 0, 1 plus 2 equals 3, decimal point, 6, 5. So the answer is 56.3. Okay, now I need to round this number to nearest hundredth. Which digit under hundredth? It's 8. Circle next door, 4. 4 is weak, so that's mean nothing happened. So 9 will be 0, 4 will be 0, 8 keep it as it is, 2 as it is, decimal point, 6, 5. That's mean my final answer is 56.28. Okay, if I need to round this number to nearest thousandth, which digit under thousandth? It's 4. So underline 4 and circle next door. Next door is 9. Strong number. That's mean I have plus 1 up to 4. So 9 will be 0. 1 plus 4 equals 5. 8 keep it as it is. 2 keep it as it is. Decimal point 6, 5. So that's mean my answer is 56.285. Letter B. Here we have 572.0891. If I need to round this number to nearest whole, that means underline ones. Which digit under ones? It's 2. Look next door. Next door is 0. Weak number. That means nothing happened. So 1 will be 0, 9 will be 0, 8 will be 0, 0 is 0, decimal point, 2 keep it as it is, 7 as it is, and 5 as it is. So that's mean my final answer is 572. Okay, if I rounded this number to nearest tenth, which digit under tenth is 0, so underline 0 and look next door, 8, 8 strong, that's mean I have plus 1 up to 0. So 1 will be 0, 9 will be 0, 8 will be 0, 1 plus 0 equals 1, decimal point, 2 as it is, 7 as it is, and 5 as it is. So the answer is 572.1. Okay, if I rounded this number to nearest hundredth, which digit under hundredth? It's 8. So underline 8 and look next door. 9. 9 is strong. That's when I have plus 1 up to 8. So I have 1 will be 0, 9 will be 0, 8 plus 1 equals 9, 0, decimal point, 2 keep it as it is, 7 and 5. So the final answer is 572.09. Okay, to round this number to nearest thousandth, which digit under thousandth? It's 9. So underline 9 and look next door. 1 next door is weak. That means nothing happened. So that's mean 1 will be 0, 9 keep it as it is, 8 as it is, 0 as it is, decimal point, 2 as it is, 7, 5 as it is. So that means my answer will be 572.089. Here in letter C we have 0.8966. I need to round this number to nearest whole. That means I need to underline the digit under ones. Which digit under ones? It's 0. So underline 0 and look next door. Next door is 8. That means strong. So I have plus 1 up to 0. So my answer will be 6 gonna be 0, 6 gonna be 0, 9 will be 0, 8, 0, decimal point, and 1 plus 0, it's 1. So the final answer is 1. If I need to round this number to nearest tenth, okay, here, tenth, which digit under tenth? It's 8. Look next door, 9 next door, so I have a strong number. So plus 1 up to 8. Okay, and then 6 will be 0, 6 will be 0, 9 will be 0, 1 plus 8 equals 9, decimal point 0, so the answer is 0.9. Okay, if I need to round this number to nearest hundredth, okay, which digit under hundredth? 9, so underline 9 and look next door. 6 is strong, so that's when I have plus 1 up to 9. So 0, 0, 1 plus 9, oh, Oh, 1 plus 9 equal 10. Can I write 2 digits down? Of course, no. So that means 0 down and carry up 1 up to the next house. So here I have 1 plus 8. 1 plus 8 equal 9. Then decimal point and 0, keep it as it is. So that means the answer here is 0.90 or 0.9, because we know that 0 tried in decimal part has no meaning. Okay, now if I need to round this number to nearest thousandth, which digit under thousandth? It's 6. So underline 6 and look next door. Next door 6 is a strong number. That's when I have plus 1 up to 6. So the first 6 from right will be 0. Then 6 plus 1 equals 7. 9, keep it as it is. 8, keep it as it is. Decimal point and 0. So the answer is 0.897. Okay, now question number 3. Omar is planning a trip from Cairo to Tamta. He will travel 178.65 kilometers round the distance to the nearest tenth. I need to round this number to the nearest tenth. Which digit under tenth? It's 6. So underline 6 and circle next door. Next door is 5. Strong. That means I have plus 1 up to 6. And close the door. 5 will be 0. 1 plus 6 equals 7. Decimal point. 8, keep it as it is. 7 and 1. So that's mean. My final answer is 178.7.